Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button because we cover critical geopolitical events that shape our world, and you won't want to miss the analysis coming your way. So, stick around as we break down one of the most complex and potentially dangerous situations unfolding right now on the global stage. Imagine waking up to headlines that seem contradictory, confusing, and deeply concerning all at the same time. On one hand, we hear that the United States will continue diplomatic talks with Iran. On the other hand, the same administration declares that a ceasefire is officially over. How can both things be true simultaneously? How can nations talk peace while preparing for conflict? This is exactly the kind of paradox that keeps international relations experts awake at night. And frankly, it should concern every single one of us who cares about global stability. Think about your own life for a moment. When you're in conflict with someone you care about, do you find yourself in that uncomfortable space where you're simultaneously trying to communicate while building walls? That human tension, that emotional roller coaster of wanting dialogue but fearing the worst, that's essentially what we're witnessing on the world stage right now. The stakes, of course, are incomparably higher, but the underlying psychology is eerily familiar. We're watching nations navigate trust and suspicion, hope and fear, all in real time. Let's begin by understanding what's actually happening here. Recent statements have created significant confusion in diplomatic circles and media outlets worldwide. The Trump administration has stated that while the United States remains open to negotiations with Iran, the temporary ceasefire that had been in effect is no longer valid. This distinction matters enormously, and I'll explain why as we move through this analysis. First, we need to understand what a ceasefire actually represents in international relations. A ceasefire is fundamentally a pause button on active military operations. It's an agreement, usually temporary, where both sides agree to stop shooting, stop bombing, and stop direct military engagement. It's a breathing room, a moment to step back from the precipice of war. When someone declares a ceasefire is over, they're essentially saying that this pause button has been pressed again, and the machinery of military conflict can resume. Now, what makes the current situation particularly nuanced is that talks are still happening. Diplomatic channels remain open. Negotiators are still sitting at tables, still speaking, still trying to find common ground. This happens more often in international relations than you might think. Countries engage in what's called talking while walking, meaning they maintain dialogue even as they increase military readiness or engage in confrontational posturing. It's like having a conversation with someone while simultaneously putting on armor. It sounds contradictory because, in many ways, it is. The human element here is crucial to understand. On both sides of this negotiation, there are people with families, with hopes, with dreams for peace. There are also hawks, hardliners, and those who profit from conflict. There are voters and citizens who fear the worst and hope for the best. The leaders making these statements are operating under immense pressure from multiple directions. They must appear strong to their domestic audiences, diplomatic to their international partners, and threatening enough to deter aggression while peaceful enough to keep conversations going. It's an exhausting tightrope to walk. Let's examine what might happen next, and I want you to really think about this emotionally and intellectually as we go through these scenarios. The first possibility is escalation. If the ceasefire is truly over and talks stall, we could see increased military provocations from either side. This could manifest as military exercises closer to borders, naval operations in disputed waters, or cyber attacks that remain just below the threshold of open warfare. History shows us that these kinds of escalations can quickly spiral out of control when miscommunication occurs, or when either side misinterprets the other's intentions. The second scenario involves continued negotiation despite the stated end to the ceasefire. In this case, both sides would essentially be playing a game of poker, showing strength and determination while hoping the other side blinks first and returns to serious, productive negotiations. This has happened throughout history, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The third possibility is a dramatic shift toward open conflict. If negotiations break down completely and both sides decide that military solutions are preferable to diplomatic ones, we could be looking at a significant regional or even broader conflict. The implications of this would be staggering for oil markets, global security, refugee populations, and innocent civilians caught in the middle. What we need to understand about the Trump administration's approach is that it's operating from a doctrine often described as maximum pressure. The idea is that by appearing strong, by declaring ceasefires over, by threatening military action, the other side will be compelled to negotiate from a weakened position. Whether this strategy actually works is debated fiercely among foreign policy experts. Some argue it's brilliant leverage, others contend it's reckless and increases the risk of unintended military escalation. From Iran's perspective, they face their own internal pressures. Iranian hardliners don't want to appear weak. They need to show their people that they're standing firm against American aggression. At the same time, ordinary Iranian citizens suffer tremendously under economic sanctions and the threat of military conflict. The leadership must balance these competing demands while also considering whether talks might genuinely lead to a better outcome than confrontation. This is where the emotional human reality intersects with cold geopolitical strategy. Real people are worried. Parents in both countries wonder if their children will be drafted into a conflict. Businesses worry about disruption. Religious leaders grapple with questions of justice and war. Ordinary citizens scroll through their phones seeing headlines that alternate between hope and dread. The international community watches with deep concern. European allies want stability. Asian markets worry about oil prices. The United Nations and other international bodies try to mediate and prevent the worst outcomes. But ultimately, this situation hinges on the decisions made by leaders in Washington and Tehran, and on the actions taken by military and intelligence officials in both countries. What should concern you most is the potential for accidents or miscalculations. War rarely starts exactly as anyone planned. Instead, it often begins with a misunderstood message, a military commander taking action without full authorization, or a chain of escalations that neither side fully anticipated or wanted. In our interconnected world where military technology is incredibly sophisticated but human judgment is still fallible, these risks are substantial. The declaration that the ceasefire is over but talks continue represents something we need to understand more deeply. It's a statement about will and power. It's a message to allies and adversaries about strength and determination. But it's also a high-wire act, because every statement, every military movement, every diplomatic gesture is being watched and interpreted by the other side, and misinterpretations can prove catastrophic. So what happens next? Honestly, it depends on decisions made in closed rooms by people we'll never meet, based on intelligence and strategic calculations we'll never fully understand. But we can stay informed. We can think critically about what we're told. We can remember that behind every headline about geopolitical strategy are millions of human beings whose lives hang in the balance. This is why geopolitical literacy matters. This is why understanding these complex situations is so important for informed citizenship. Please, if you found this analysis helpful and illuminating, subscribe to the channel because we'll continue breaking down these critical events as they unfold. Share your thoughts in the comments section. What do you think will happen next? What concerns you most about this situation? Your perspective matters, and our community thrives on thoughtful discussion. Thank you for watching, friends. Stay informed, stay critical in your thinking, and I'll see you in the next analysis.